He's serious at what he's doing. But I want to assure him that I'm equally serious.
Honorable Bukede was not included. You withdraw Bukede.
Right, Honourable Speaker. The whole idea,
Lob,
that's
you listen to your attorney. Bukede was not involved. Let's not go into something.
Right, Honourable Speaker, for the sake of tranquility and peace, and to avoid interruption by OO, who is deliberate on disrupting my presentation, we shall use the other examples and drop Bukedia.
So you've withdrawn Bukedia?
Yes.
Yes.
Ekiri mu parliament y'eggwanga Uganda amazima gali nti omuliro gwakutte dda. Jjukira tuli ku report eya CDF gye yaleetanga ejjudde ebituli. Ensonga eri mu parliament olunaku olwaleero ye y'abaana kibiina kya NUP ne bannayuganda abazze babuzibwawo. Mpuliriza obunkenke wakati wa speaker ne rope amanyiddwa nga Mathias Mpuuga. Mathias Mpuuga aleese ekizampo ng'aweera ku district ya speaker Anita Amongo y'Ebukedya ne bavaawo bubi. Mu ngeri y'emu ababaka ba NRM bataddewo okuwakanya wakati waabwe n'aba National Unity Platform. Mpuliriza obunkenke bungi mu parliament. Njagadde nkukuŋŋaanyiriza obutambi n'ekiri mu parliament okirabeko. Njagala ogoberere bulungi nga bwe biri mu parliament. Gwayagala okumanya ogenda kumanya. Amazima gali nti opposition wadde batono balaze nti bamaanyi. Wadde batono balaze nti bategeera era basobola okulwana singa babe beegasse ekitole. Olunaku olwaleero parliament ebintu tebibadde kyekimu. Mpuliriza ababaka ba NRM bakyalemeddeko. Kyokka ab'oludda oluwabula gavumenti bakakasa bagamba ne bwe kiba kyetaagisa kuddayo bave mu parliament bagenda givaamu, otherwise baagala ensonga zaabwe ziwulirwe ate zikolebweko. Si ziwulira buwulizi wabula zikolebweko. Baagala abantu baabwe, baagala ne bwe baba tebaliiyo, baagala waakiri babalage entaana we baabaziika. Ab'oludda oluwabula gavumenti this time round bannange tubasaliyutinga. Mulaze unit, mulaze amaanyi nti wadde muli batono naye musobola. Okusingira ddala ngenda kwebaza rope amanyiddwa nga Mathias Mpuuga. Amazima gali nti olaze amaanyi, olaze ekikonfide kyonna mu parliament. Ate olunaku olwaleero oli mulalamu. Olunaku olwaleero oli mulalamu. Mutulaze nti mu reasoning okusinga abangi aba NRM. Jukira parliament erimu ba minister ba NRM, ba MP ba NRM, bonna be basinga obungi nga mulimu n'anyigiriza speaker Anita Amongo wabula Mathias Mpuuga abawaddereva. Mpuliriza leero sigenda kwogera nnyo. Njagala nkuwa obutambi buno bugoberere gwe munnayuganda abaddewo ng'osaba ababaka bano balemere ku nsonga. Nja kusaba wuliriza bulungi otegeere ekiri mu parliament. Nkugambye omuliro gwaka n'ebifuba katono biba bugume. Mpuliriza njagala nkulekere wano, nkulekere obutambi buno buwulirize era bulabe. Wabula nkutegeeza tutambula ne Sheikh Ashraf omusomi wa dduwa. Munoonyeeko ku namba y'essimu gy'olaba weetekene bali ye Sheikh Ashraf bakakasimuko kanyonyogere mukubireko gw'ayina ebizibu ebyenjawulo. Atalina bizibu tokuba wabula ayina ebizibu ng'owulya bikuzimbyeko akayumba kubira Sheikh Ashraf mu ngeri y'emu. Kankulekere obutambi buno.
I will highlight some of the cases that clearly indicate glaring contradictions in the statement presented by the minister vis-à-vis statements obtained from the police, witnesses, and other state departments. I'll make a few highlights, not the entire 18. Let me sample for the House to make a judgment. Case 1 is that of Muliro John. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the Minister has presented a report indicating that Muliro John is not among the people in government custody. Contrary to what the Minister stated in his report, Muliro's disappearance was reported to police and an SD reference was obtained to that effect. I have indicated this, Right Honourable Speaker. Contrary to what the minister stated, Damulira's data is well captured with the NIRA under that number. He had a national ID and voter location slip. Not only Speaker, we should also note that at this stage, that the case of Damulira John, just like many other cases of enforced disappearances, was reported to police, and the police was on record admitting his arrest and detention. On 22nd November 2020, Mr. Patrick Onyango, the spokesperson of Kampala Metropolitan Police, confirmed Mr. Damulira's arrest and several others on allegations of participating in protests around the Kampala metropolitan area, but denied torturing the suspects. And I quote him, "It is true, Damulira John is one of the people we arrested, but I cannot tell you where he and others are detained now. We did not torture any person. And as an institution, torture is prohibited as a form of interrogation." The Daily Monitor of 22nd November quote Mr. Onyango, confirming detaining Mr. Damulira John. Right, Honourable Speaker, Damulira John's matter has been investigated by the Uganda Human Rights Commission, the Central Regional Office, and in a letter referenced, quoted, and dated 9th December 2020, addressed to the CMI, indicated that the Commission carried out investigation at Central Police Station in Kampala, and it was established that the victim, Damulira John, is being detained at CMI Kampala. Right, Honourable Speaker, that's correspondence between the Human Rights Commission and the Uganda Police. Right, Honourable Speaker, for your information and the information of members, the relatives of Damulira John on 11th January 2021 reported this matter to State House as well, when in turn forwarded the same to the Uganda Human Rights Commission for further management. I have attached correspondences between the police and the Uganda Human Rights Commission on the arrest of Damulira. Right, Honourable Speaker, invariably, this is a matter in a dispute, and we have situated Damulira at CMI. Right, Honourable Speaker, John Bosco Kibalama, the Minister denies knowledge of the holding point of John Bosco Kibalama, which contravenes what the Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Nabanja, asserted during the press interview in the corridors of Parliament. She had this to say: "But we are fortunate that Kibalama was traced. He was arrested, and recently in October, in a place called Ekiri. And he is one of those that killed, is claimed to have killed the police officers in Kiboga, Wakiso, and other places." Honourable Speaker, a missing person case for Kibalama was reported at Nakanyonyi Police Station under that reference, a day after his abduction on June 3rd, 2019, discrediting the minister's narrative that the family did not contact police for any remedy. Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the Deputy Attorney General, the Honourable Jackson Kafuzi, featured on NBS TV talk show The Frontline, and they tried to spin the Prime Minister and Honourable Nabanja's narrative by insinuating that the Kibalama she referred to is the founding member of NURP party, who is Moses Ngongo Kibalama. Honourable Speaker and colleagues, when the Honourable Kafuz was challenged by the show host, who replayed the Honourable Nabanja's bite, he rephrased this statement and said, "She misspoke." I don't know what that means. Honourable Speaker and colleagues, these ping-pong games by government officials should concern every right-thinking person. The attempt at this spin clearly shows how sections of the ruling party hold Ugandans in contempt and will not stop at anything to show disdain for them. The Prime Minister is on record of Parliament over her total knowledge as to the arrest and whereabouts of Kibalama, and we took her for her statement on record. Right, Honourable Speaker, Mr. Chirama was fully situated. Top government officials are aware of his whereabouts and how they handled his arrest. Right, Honourable Speaker, the case of Mr. Wangolo Dennis. I am sampling a few for the attention of the House. Mr. Wangolo was picked from his workplace at Chebando taxi stage and bundled into a drone alongside 5 others, namely Nwagaba, Katende Bernard, Samba Silas, Kasato, and Zimla Dennis. The abductees were taken to Ekiri Army Barracks, where they were tortured, and they fully released save for Zimla and Wangolo. This abduction was witnessed.
Excuse me, young, please first come back. Huh?
Right, Honourable Speaker, allow me to correct the record here in the names I read out. The names were Nwagaba.
Honorable, sorry for the interruption.
Were Nwagaba, Katende Bernard, Sambwa Silas Kasato, and Zimla Dennis. Sambwa Silas Kasato is one person, Right, Honourable Speaker.
Okay.
The abductees were taken to Ekiri Army Barracks, where they were tortured, and they fully released save for Zimla and Wangolo. This abduction was witnessed by the area residents and an authoritative source, the Elson chairperson, Mr. Manje Richard. Right, Honourable Speaker, neither records have proved the existence of Mr. Wangolo, contrary to the minister's claim that he is fictitious, that he has never existed. Last, Honourable Speaker, Mr. Semuddu Michael Jackson. The kidnap case of Mr. Semuddu was reported by his relative, Mr. Kafero Michael, at Old Kampala Police Station under that reference on 26th of November 2020. His credentials at NIRA show that he was registered under that number. Right, Honourable Speaker, I sampled this to tell you, to settle the matter that the victims of disappearance were fictitious, and the prayer you shall make to this House subsequently will be to eventually have occasion to situate and locate the others and confirm their existence, including the video clips I'll submit for the attention of the House. Right, Honourable Speaker, excuse me. Officials of government claiming responsibility for missing persons. Right, Honourable Speaker, I also bring to your attention and that of the House that some government leaders, including cabinet ministers, such as the Honourable Judith Nabakoba, are on record claiming responsibility for some of the missing persons. During a church service at St. Andrew's Cathedral, Namukozi in Mityana, in the presence of the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, the Honourable Nabakoba said she was aware of some opposition supporters who were abducted during elections. And when the families of these people approached her at her home in Kalangalo, she was able to secure their freedom, the freedom of the victims from Kireka SIU. She comes as a very useful witness in establishing the security layers involved in committing these heinous crimes, Right, Honourable Speaker. And I will submit her video and voice record on that matter, Right, Honourable Speaker. Right, Honourable Speaker, in Nansana, one Yusuf Mugaga, an NRM leader, is implicated by the community in several abduction cases. He offered to secure the release of Mustafa Luemba's freedom in exchange for a fee from his relatives. He went on to produce Luemba's national ID to demonstrate that he knew where he was being held. Mr. Yusuf Mugaga has accomplices at room 18 at CPS Kampala building, where they coordinated the ransom and abduction conspiracies. The other officials implicated in the conspiracies are Champs Sub-County Giso, Mr. Swipe, Mr. Kafuma Twaha, chairperson of Kabembe, the former minister Ronald Chibule, and the former RDC Freddie Bamwine, among others. Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the House should use this information to interrogate the activities of these individuals and come to a conclusion as to their role, whether they are being helpful or conspirators. Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, on claims that security forces use reasonable force during operations, on countless occasions, security forces have been captured on camera, torturing and beating up subdued non-combatants. On November 6, 2022, heavily armed security operatives cruising a numberless Toyota Hiace minivan famously known as a drone sealed off Gladiator Paradise in Masanaf, Lubaga Division, where they indiscriminately beat up revelers who were watching a Premier League football match. In the scuffle, Kavuma Jamshid, a member of the security detail of the opposition NUP party president, was subdued, handcuffed, and shot as he inquired about the basis of his arrest. I refer the House to the BBC documentary entitled Drones, the Vans That Take People Away, dated 13th February 2023. I have attached that record, Right Honourable Speaker. On November 18th, 2021, Right Honourable Speaker, Sheikh Chilevu, a Muslim cleric, was subdued as recounted by his wives, Amina Nabada and Sophia Nakachwa, handcuffed and shot dead. In sight of his children, despite peacefully submitting to the arresting officers to take him for prosecution. I refer the House to the URN report titled Family Disputes Police Narrative on Killed Sheikh Chilevu. Right Honourable Speaker, the evidence of his killing was all over the place and the circumstances. On May 8th, 2023, Hamid Muyodi, an NUP supporter, was shot in the thigh inside a Toyota Hiace minivan that contained JAT officers who had come to arrest him for unsubstantiated allegations. The security officer who shot Muyodi was neither charged nor court-martialed as demanded by the law. But the Kampala Metropolitan Police spokesperson, Luke Owesegire, described the tragedy as an accident. Right Honourable Speaker, we're waiting for a report of the occurrence of that accident inside the van. Right Honourable Speaker, not forgetting the March 2019 extrajudicial murder of Ronald Sebulime, who was handcuffed and shot while in the custody of police in a police patrol, alongside several security-inspired terror against members of the Fourth Estate, the media, and the peaceful protesting media, medical interns, and doctors that have occupied a fair share of this year. The excess brutality meted out on minors found at the Kawempe residence of Sheikh Yunus Kamoga is still fresh in our minds, Right Honourable Speaker. Relying on some of these cited incidents, Right Honourable Speaker, therefore, I strongly reject the position of government that security forces use reasonable force when conducting operations. I therefore insist that our report highlighting the security excesses was factual and premised on precedents, accounts of witnesses, and other credible sources who preferred anonymity for fear of reprisal, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, on the issue of compensation talked about or mentioned in the report, it is on record that General Museveni pledged to compensate the bereaved families of some of the victims of the November 2020 riots, especially those he had categorized as non-rioters. 3 years later, nothing in that regard has been effected. He listed 3 names of the then missing 177 persons and directed his intelligence to publish the full list, a directive that has since been defied and downplayed. The report on November 2020 killings remains concealed from the public, to whom government should be accountable. Right Honourable Speaker, I have attached the record of the 2021 18 November Human Rights Watch report entitled 1 Year Later, No Justice for Victims of Uganda's Lethal Crackdown. I've also attached a video evidence of the Commander-in-Chief directing the publication of that list, which has never appeared up to now. Right Honourable Speaker, at the November 2022 UN Geneva Convention, the Attorney General of Uganda, the Honourable Chiwanuka, a man I hold in very high regard, lied before the delegates that they had compensated some victims of the protests, and they went on to cite Honourable Zake Francis and exiled NUP journalist Ashraf Kasirye as beneficiaries of the compensation scheme. On the contrary, the duo have publicly denied ever getting any penny from the government as compensation for the bodily harm they suffered at the hands of security. Honourable Speaker, I want to confirm on record that I was the attorney for Kasirye, and therefore his matter has never been compensated. His matter was handled by Justice Sekana, and the state has been playing games since, so it's never been conclusive, and so therefore no compensation. Honourable Speaker and colleagues, it is only through relentless efforts that some families of the deceased 15-year-old Amos Segawa have been awarded some meager compensation. Ms. Nachito, the mother, was awarded by Justice Musa Sekana 50 million shillings, which she complained to be too small for the life of her son, whose right to life was denied by the two-day November 2020 shooting spree. So I further have attached the ruling in Ms. Jan's cause number 011122 of 2021, Hajara Nachito versus the Attorney General. It's fully attached, Right Honourable Speaker. Therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, the claims that government has compensated the victims of the November 2020 protests are delusional and a naked lie that even the families of the victims can attest to. Therefore, it should not be kept on the record of Parliament, Right Honourable Speaker. Those who will come after us will never understand how we had that on record. Right Honourable Speaker, detecting registration number plates of vehicles with security missions. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, I find totally impractical that the government, as by its statement, expects people to take records of registration number plates in tense circumstances when masked men, gunmen in drones have their fingers read on the trigger. In July this year, security personnel of the Chief Military Intelligence traveling in a drone shot dead a 34-year-old Jacqueline Narwanga, a resident of Nakabogo village in Wakiso district. The deceased was on her way to her garden when she found herself entangled in a security operation and was killed just because she was about to witness an abduction operation. This implies that even if she had taken a record of the security vehicle, she would have been unable to she would be unable to live to tell the story as a witness. I refer the House to the July 25th, 2023 Daily Monitor report, which I have attached, entitled "Army Stray Bullets Kill Woman Going to Her Garden." Besides, security is fond of switching registration number plates upon accomplishing their missions. Right Honourable Speaker, this was evident in the tenure of Major General Muzei Sabiti as the Deputy Inspector General of Government, or Inspector General of Police, when his vehicle number plate was switched to a Toyota Hiace drone for an operation. This is the Deputy IGP switching number plates. Right Honourable Speaker. The police spokesperson Fred Enanga came out in defense of the saga and stated that it is their tendency as security to switch number plates depending on the magnitude of the operation they intend to conduct. I also reflect on the various by-elections like Omoro, Soroti, Bukedi, among others, where security forces concealed their vehicle number plates with cow dung to evade detection.
Were you in Bukedia to say that? Remove Bukedia from your list. Right,
Honourable Speaker, the House receives a record for their processing, and the House will take occasion to consider what they drop and what they keep with your indulgence.
Much as I'm not supposed to defend my district, I am defending Bukedea was not involved.
Right, Honourable Speaker, the House will take a record.
Yes.
And I'll make a determination.
Yes.
Interrupt very decent men like Honorable Mpuuga. But listening to him and reading through, I'm wondering whether it's a rejoinder or a new statement. Because, and some of the people whom I don't want to put on record, like now, Bukedea, can he refer to which page did the minister indicate? Because rejoinder, you don't bring new things. But there are a number of new things that has been brought. Now, like on this one of cow dung and when a dung is on the number plate, you may not even know whether it's a human dung or a cow dung. Going into the specific, which page?
I am Honorable Law. You're making a rejoinder on what the minister responded to. And in the report of the minister, I did not see my district. And I'm a woman member of parliament for that district. I will defend it to the latter.
Honourable Speaker.
Let's talk about abducted people, because there's nobody abducted from Bukedea.
Honourable Speaker, the beauty is that I went to the same law school we went to, and we all understand the concepts of rejoinders. He's just trying to divert me from presenting this, and I know his game. He's serious at what he's doing, but I want to assure him that I'm equally serious.
Honorable Bukedea was not included. You withdraw Bukedea.
Right, Honourable Speaker. The whole idea,
Lob,
that's
you listen to your attorney. Bukedea was not involved. Let's not go into something.
Right, Honourable Speaker, for the sake of tranquility and peace, and to avoid interruption by who is deliberate on disrupting my presentation, we shall use the other examples and drop Bukedea.
So you've withdrawn Bukedea?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, no, yes, withdrawn Bukedea. Honorable members, let's sit, let's wait. Honorable members,
Madam Speaker, I also want to go on record. No, Madam Speaker, I also want to.
Honorable members, Honorable Gwang, first sit. Honorable Gwang, first sit. All of you sit. All of you sit. All of you. And I am reminding you this. If I see you standing more than 2 times, I'll get you out. Honorable Lob, as we've agreed, don't bring in some things that will anger some people. Let's talk about the 18 people, the shrinking space, all those kind of things. You read your statement.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I want to assure the House that I'm very methodical.
And members, I will give you time to debate. I will give you members.
I want to assure the House that I'm very methodical. And if you really, if it does please you, Right Honourable Speaker, I would play video evidence of everything I'm talking about. Otherwise,
can we go to your report?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I can understand the discomfort
and I want
this rejoinder is bringing. Right Honourable Speaker.
There's a procedural matter.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, The issue, Honorable OO raised a pertinent issue on the rejoinder. Isn't it procedural right that you give your ruling on the how rejoinders are done, so that this parliament takes a precedent, even for the future, on how we can manage reports and counter reports?
Yes. Another one?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, she has allowed me to speak. Right Honorable Speaker, we all have senior six or equivalent that allows us to be in this house, and therefore we understand English. Right Honorable Speaker, what we expect as a house, that the leader of opposition should respond to what the minister presented on the floor of this house. That's what a rejoinder is. Yes, all of us have been to school. All of us have been to school. And nobody should attempt to take us back to school. So could you guide, Madam Speaker, that the leader of opposition restricts himself to respond to what the Minister of Internal Affairs presented on this floor? But when you start saying the Attorney General was in Geneva and so forth, you're on a fishing expedition. So we want your guidance over that matter, because we are keenly listening and we are going to respond. And we shall respond to what he has brought, not to bring new issues.
Honorable members,
new issues, yes.
Honorable members, now for you, you've just come. Your children were here looking for you. First, wait. Honorable members, the leader of opposition brought a report to this house, and government was asked to respond item by item. Now, after government responding an item by item, where they felt they were not satisfied with what government responded to, strictly on what was brought on the floor. Strictly on what was brought on the floor. A rejoinder is a response to the response that was given. So the rejoinder that you're giving is responding to what General Muhoozi gave, and strictly should be to what General Muhoozi gave. Not bringing in the issues of Bukede, Kaodam. Was that?
Guidance, Madam Speaker. Guidance, Madam Speaker.
Yes, you're conflicted.
Me?
Yes, you first sit. You're making a guidance on my ruling. Okay, let me give Nwagaba to speak, not you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I thank you for your ruling. In a rejoinder like the leader of opposition is making, you are not limited to responding strictly to the response by the other party. But you can, in responding to that response, you can expound. And what the leader of opposition is doing is just expounding when he is rejoining.
Can I have Kiror? Kiror?
I want to...
Kiror?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want really... You know, when we go to law school, we should not apply the law, understanding of the law selectively. If we choose
to what
benefits you, that would be very mean of us. We have you can be senior, but you have not read the law and understood. You get it? You see? Right Honorable Speaker, I think let's apply the rejoinder in the strict sense. We have chosen to use the word rejoinder. If an application has been filed and somebody has done a reply to that application, and the court gives you the latitude to do a rejoinder, it is not to open the Pandora box. No. You rejoin to certain specific issues which have been raised in the response, which you want to clarify on. But you don't broaden it. And those are the rules.
Honorable Fox. Fox.
I thank you. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Can I have silence?
Right Honorable Speaker, matters of human rights should never divide us. We should all speak with one voice when it comes to matters of human rights. And we should be candid, we should be honest, we should be truthful. Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Nwagaba was 1 year behind me at law school. I have known him for a very long time. And the Honorable Nwagaba knows that a rejoinder is restricted to matters already canvassed. The matters must have been dealt with, and you only rejoin to matters that were raised.
Them and seize this ground. I thank you for the patience and everyone enjoying in this, Right Honourable Speaker. I understand the fact that the House is stressed over this matter, but even the nation is even more stressed, Right Honourable Speaker. The very reason this House of Parliament should find every reason to end this matter in a manner that the public does expect us to end it, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, before I delve into my response to the Minister's statement, I wish to state and remind ourselves of the role and duty of the legislature in situations like these. Right Honourable Speaker, Parliament, through its legislative mandate, molds the legal framework and shields the rights of every citizen, ensuring that the most vulnerable among us are protected and nurtured. Parliament, as the embodiment of the collective will of the people, brings human rights to reality. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, we must make it clear to everyone that our walkout and break from plenary activities was triggered by the continued indolence of government to address the most pressing and transgressing issues that affect our people and undermine their worth and dignity. That is something we couldn't withstand in an environment where our people's concerns are not prioritized. We demand answers, accountability, action taken, and redress for the violations, Right Honourable Speaker. The government should take full responsibility for its citizens as espoused in the international and national legal frameworks to which we subscribe, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, like the previous statements on the issue, the government has again taken a defensive approach to matters in which it is supposed to take a lead role in investigating and finding redress to the public outcry. It is not right and proper, Right Honourable Speaker, for the government to merely dismiss issues summarily without giving due regard to the overwhelming evidence presented at various fora. Besides the condescending style and language used in the Minister's speech, Right Honourable Speaker, we have found his statement to be extremely disparaging, detached, and frosty to the victims and their respective families. It should stand rejected in its inadequate stance, Right Honourable Speaker. With a view to keeping our focus on the substantive issues, I will not respond to the assertions that are apparently intended to divert us, Right Honourable Speaker. On another day, we shall indulge in the figures and rankings of our country on an international scale in as far as human rights are concerned. That's not for today. As for now, let us first discuss the issues of disappearances and arbitrary killings in which the government is not only implicated, but has also failed to conduct and present to the public comprehensive findings. I hope in that regard, the Minister will be proud that the 18 missing persons are isolated incidents, not warranting state intervention. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, I'm sure most of us were here at the return of multi-party politics in Uganda. I can certainly state that it was never the decision of the ruling government to reverse the movement system. It was the decision of the people, and this did not come on a silver platter. Most of us are not strangers to these processes. I know for a fact, like most of us do, that this has never dawned on the ruling party that other political parties and actors deserve space or even a right to advance their ideas and philosophies. Right Honourable Speaker, back to the human rights concerns we raised vis-a-vis the Minister's statement. I must state at the earliest that no response was made to the issues we raised. The Minister's statement was purely a political narrative, instead of giving the country a detailed and specific account of missing persons and remedy to their families. I would particularize the issues, Right Honourable Speaker, with their attendant titles. 1. Failure to conduct investigations. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, throughout the web of denials in the Minister's response, the most evident and striking attribute painted thereon is that no investigations were conducted at all. We are saddened by government's inaction in the face of these gross violations. Yet time is fast running. The victims continue reeling and harrowing in pain, despair, agony, and anguish. Clearly, if we continue with this lethargic approach, we will not get any answer from this numb and unresponsive government. Right Honourable Speaker, I will demonstrate subsequently
Order for what? Pardon?